Good day, rescue enjoyers. I hope you're doing alright. So, profit review. I'm back. But what gives? Why did you take a break from it for about a month? Well, I'll quickly explain. Basically, with every rush store, I'd usually wait 4 weeks, return to it, get a good look at it, see how everything turned out. Did everything match up to our expectations? You know how it was. But I felt like 4 weeks wasn't enough. We hardly ever hardly ever saw that much change. And profit review was supposed to kind of look at skins after after a decent while. Like the prices that they would be at when we look at them again in the video would be like a good indicator of what they're going to be like potentially for the further future. But with just 4 weeks passing, it didn't feel like that was enough. It just kind of felt a little bit too short term. So I thought, you know what? I've got to extend it. And well, from here on now, profit reviews will be 8 weeks after the rush store has come and gone. So that's the new plan, and I think we'll have a lot more to talk about now in regards to profit reviews. I kind of already talked quite a lot, but point is, I feel like it's a better review then, and well, it's going to be a much more interesting discussion. And so with that, shall we begin? So good day everybody, hope you're doing alright. The last video was of course the profit review for March 13, 2025. That means today we're here to talk about March 20, 2025. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. So what was my initial reaction when I first saw this rush store? Well, I saw some surprising collection continuations. Certain skins had been in the workshop for about 8 weeks and then they're suddenly being accepted. Not fully sure what was going on there, but hey, return of the beauty industry collection, redemption. Oh, look, another backpack, an ultramarine backpack. Oh, and a fish bucket. We haven't had one. We haven't had a bucket helmet in a long time. Okay. So overall, the collection of skins was actually pretty interesting. Nice variety. Couldn't complain that much. But what was my thoughts in regards to, out of all these skins, which ones were potentially some very nice, investments? What's my predictions? So, of course, I'm referencing this video over here, my predictions video for March 20, 2025. Well, the very first thing I'm going to talk about was, of course, this fridge. Now, with it being March time, I should just point out that it was just about 3 weeks after we had the cooking update. And before that, we were fully well aware that there was going to be some changes to fridges. They were supposed to become a necessity. Food would rot, so how do you keep it fresh? You stick it in the fridge. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Yep. So we were expecting fridges were going to begin, it was going to start getting a lot more skins accepted. It kind of felt like that was going to happen. And lo and behold, look, another fridge was accepted. Death metal. Very interesting glow-in-the-dark design. But at this specific point, I started to realise the hype with all the fridges in regards to the skins, it was kind of like dying off. Before we had the March Force Wipe update, a lot of the pre-existing fridges, I'll just quickly show all of that, they'd all been bought out. There was a lot of hype behind it. But when the actual update came out, I think everybody who bought into them started to sell, and the prices, of course, were dropping off. So it was around here where I started to notice that, and it was here where I started to question, well, I can't help but assume we're probably going to start seeing a lot more of these actually being accepted. And if we see far too many of them in such a short amount of time, that could lead to some issues. It could lead to some problems. However, it was March, and we were still anticipating the arrival of the jungle update, which we knew was going to be a very big update. And of course, the summertime and whatnot. I felt like perhaps a lot of kids, they haven't realised all the interesting things that have been added to Rust, and it's like when they return around maybe like July time, perhaps they'll realise, oh, hang on a minute, fridges are more of a necessity. They'll get used a lot more. There'll be more demand for the skins. Maybe that could have a nice turnaround. That was the expectation. But I was still cautious with this fridge. So I was interested, but I knew there could be potential problems. So that's that. Fish bucket. So yeah, I wasn't joking. We really did not see that many bucket helmets ever being accepted. In the past, there was a few. Then 2017, there was a lot. 5 years later, knockoff KFC design. 3 years later, oh look, fish bucket. Okay. Well, you know what, that's cool. But when I was doing my predictions video, which you can see just over to here. Oh, look, I got hair. Lovely. Oh, I didn't have it for long after that, though. But anyway, I was looking at all the skins, and it was the lowest selling skin at one point. No, it was the second lowest. It was kind of tied with the Minicopter Sap. I just noticed that right there. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that's not going to sell that much. It's green. There's already an established fish collection with some primitive skins. You could wear this with the bucket helmet, and you could wear like a standard bandana. cover your face. You got some good early game like green camouflage. And I thought, you know what, maybe people would appreciate that. Maybe people would like that. It was looking interesting. It really didn't look like it was going to sell that much. It was abnormal, so that's also a nice benefit. But the other thing to point out was I just really didn't expect that many more bucket helmets to be produced and accepted anytime soon. Like, honestly, if you do care enough to look at the workshop as much as I do, you hardly ever see them being produced, and let alone accepted, of course. So, okay, maybe as time goes on in the further future, they'll actually work out quite nicely. I was optimistic for it. I actually thought it was going to potentially work out very nicely. So, all right then, yep, cool, that's interesting. What about all these other skins here? Well, if I could just quickly remember, yep, I'm going back over and talking about the Senor Tomato Rock. Interesting, fun, cute design, but the amount of rock skins we already had accepted in 2025, that started to become a bit of a problem. So, we had all the cute animals and whatnot. Now we've got a goofy tomato, apparently. Cool. If you smack it against a rock, it's just going to explode. Anyway, but cute, silly face with all these rocks that we had accepted up to this specific point in March 20. They were all starting to suffer. Baby Hippo Rock was down, Sloth Rock was down, B Rock was down. I didn't have the highest of hopes for this rock, but I could think, you know what? I won't be surprised if with a smart boulder things could still work out quite nicely for it. And I can't fully remember, I think I did see a continuation on the workshop. I can't fully remember. It was 2 months ago. I know it's a bit of a problem this now, but anyway. In regards to that, it was cute, it was silly, it was abnormal. I was interested, so okay, we'll leave it at that. Then, of course, we had the Beauty Industry Locker. Big surprise, because the last skin with that to be accepted was the Sheep Mirador. That happened late in 2024, and that sold quite nicely. And afterwards, it spiked in price ever so nicely. And and with the locker, it spiked even more, because by default, neon cat girls on a Sheep Mirador are common now. Of course, that's going to sell nicely. So post Christmas, it went up in price ever so nice, and then when that appeared, it went up even higher. Very cool, very nice. That's a locker. And in 2024, we got quite a lot of locker skins being accepted. Sorry about that, I hit my mic. And as we went through post-Christmas, so of course, 2024 rolling into 2025, during January 2025, typically you'd see skins like spike in price, reach new all-time highs. These lockers that you see here, they hardly even budged. That didn't look good, and that was kind of putting me off as I was looking at that. Now, we already just had a Twitch drop. We had the recent Lunar New Year locker. I was unsure. I was kind of iffy, but I was like, you know what? I can't help but assume the skin creators are going to feel reinvigorated, and they're going to want to, put out some more deplorables for this now. Maybe that could actually work out quite nicely. Maybe. So yeah, okay. There was some optimism. Looking at the hide clothing next. Okay, you know what? Some hide clothing after having the poncho and the bandana. Not too bad. But one thing I definitely realised was we already had like black clothing, hide clothing to clarify. We had cursed hide, we had the pirate collection, but they sold quite a lot, and they were already comfortably in the positive, like double the price that this was selling for, and of course the pants. So I was like, you know what? Maybe by default, hopefully it doesn't sell too much, but maybe that tire clothing there actually could work out quite nicely, simply due to the fact that it's the cheapest black hide clothing. Like, I know it sounds silly, but of course this was the second batch of primitive skins to be accepted. I was also feeling optimistic for some like hide boots, maybe some leather gloves, a deer skull mask, tire primitive set, deer skull mask, put some tire tracks on the deer skull mask, roadkill. That sounded cool. I actually went up to the skin creator and asked about that. So I thought that was going to happen. But the funny thing is, and I remember this, is like, I kind of want to do tier 2 armor. I want to see how that's going to go. So, funny that, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. But yeah, that's what he was thinking about doing. So, okay, cool. Then I'm going to talk about the Ultramarine backpack. Up to this point, March 2025, backpack skins, they weren't looking very good. The Ultramarine collection, that was super comfortable. That was all in the green. Everything was A-OK. Let me remind you, February, March, April, spring season tends to be pretty bad. I refer to this as the Easter dip. We tend to see prices drop off because there's not as many people playing. It's unfortunate, but it's a routine thing that happens every single year. But the Ultramarine collection just did not care. It was in demand, and as we approach the summer, you'd think, could it potentially go up even higher? So that was looking pretty interesting. That was sounding pretty all right. Could that carry with a backpack? I was remaining a little bit optimistic. Redemption collection reappears, but with an L96. Unfortunately, with L96 skins, they tend to not work out super great. Hardly any of them ever go up in the positive. But I thought, you know what? Nice, shiny collection. There's a lot behind it. Maybe it could end up like the Black Gold L96. That was accepted back in early 2024. Sold a little bit too much, but during the summer of 2024, that rose up the price ever so nice. Went above its Rust price, and then with the recent, post-Christmas, January time, that also went back up above its Rust price. So, okay, you know what? Smart barter could be a smart way to go about with using that. Maybe that might work out quite nicely, but I did still anticipate it dropping off. Deep Ruby crossbow, very interesting design, and a big surprise to see because, we had the Deep Ruby AK, that sold for $3.49, very unique style, crystalline, purple, amethyst, interesting, unique approach with a skin, especially when you compared that to all the other AKs, but we never saw any skins being accepted until now. But this is still a weapon on the collection. I know the skin creator was trying his best to get more accepted, but it took a while until this happened, 2 months. But could this be the first of a lot more? I was feeling curious, want to see how that rolled out, but crossbows, up to this point, they weren't exactly doing super great. But they don't really tend to go down super bad either, especially compared to many other weapon skins. So, okay, I was cautiously interested, optimistic. And then, of course, we had the Minicopter Sap. Bit rough with its design, aged, worn out, rusty. That was the intention. It's a perfectly fine design for what it was. It's just, we have quite a lot of cool looking Saps, and I just didn't think this was going to perform as good as the ones we saw for the previous year. But I did remember some of the ugly ones from 2023, and again, ugly by design, even they had a very interesting summer back in 2024. As we approach the summer of 2025, maybe it could still work out nicely. Maybe it doesn't sell too much. Okay, well, not exactly super enthusiastic about it, but I could see still some nice, decent chances of it retaining its value. So that was the predictions. Let's talk about the first 24 hours of sales now. So let's hop to it, over to here, and well, here we are. Beauty Industry Locker, 7,800 subscribers, top selling skin out of all these. Not too bad. Rock followed just a little bit behind with 7,300. The weapons here, they were doing quite alright. Tire hide clothing didn't look like it was selling too much. One thing we had to be a little bit careful about, was it going to match up nicely with the poncho and the bandana? Things were looking reasonable. Looking at the backpack, I wasn't, again, okay, by default, still feeling a bit worried, but it definitely didn't look excessive. That's good. Maybe it could work out quite nicely. So, as we would approach the abnormals, that was actually looking a lot more appealing. Fridge was doing all right in terms of, okay, good, that's not selling a little bit too much then. But, just because it doesn't sell that much doesn't mean it's going to be all right instantly or definitively. It just might help it out. Sap was doing, but yeah, with its design, not too surprised. But one thing that did surprise me was the fish bucket. Lowest selling skin, 3,500 subscribers. We don't see that many bucket helmet skins. I was not expecting maybe another one being accepted for quite a long time. So to see that with not that much, also being part of the fish collection, which is in demand and people appreciate, well, hold on a second then. That actually could work out quite nicely. So, how did things roll out when we did the abnormal buy orders? So let's go hop over to here, and here we are. I've got it all on display, and as you may notice, Senor Tomato, that was the top selling skin with 17,857 subscribers, but that actually wasn't abnormal, just remembered now. It should have, no, stop, no, I made a mistake earlier if I said it was, sorry about that. Beauty Industry Locker, yeah, it slipped back a fair bit. Okay then, is what it is. Looking at the tire clothing, that had just over 10,000 subscribers, not too ridiculous. And, well, looking at the fish bucket right there, that had just barely over 7,000 subscribers. That really wasn't that much. So, overall, quite a lot of these skins didn't really sell that much. I honestly thought they'd probably do a fair bit more. So, okay, cool. It is what it is. It is what it is. So let's now talk about the prices I suggested when we did the abnormal buy orders. So looking at the beauty industry locker, it's selling at $2.49. I thought about it. I questioned it. I thought 17,000 might be a little bit too much. I wasn't really seeing signs of like great things with lockers the previous year, although I did notice their prices were kind of looking like they're starting to improve. Still cautious, still unsure. I thought it was going to likely drop down to about like $2 at one point. That's why I went with the suggestion of $1.20 to $1.80. I thought that should be perfectly fine. Let's hope we don't see too many more lockers in 2025. Then the Redemption L96, I gave it a good look. I questioned it. Again, I referenced back to the black gold L96, and I thought, you know what? Kind of same like the locker. I wouldn't be surprised if it dips a fair bit. Probably goes down to maybe about $2, maybe a little bit less than that. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go $1.20 to $1.70 for that. Deep Ruby Crossbow. I was aware that more skins have been submitted. Some tools were. So, okay, the skin creator is committed. He's adding more. Let's see if we see more of the Deep Ruby collection. Crossbow, $2.49 as well. Thought about it, questioned it. I went with $1.20 to $1.70. I looked at the Ultramarine backpack. It's got a reasonable amount of sales with just over 11,000. Okay, that's not too bad. The collection was in demand. It's selling at $2, and I thought, you know what? I'm still not sure. I don't trust backpacks. So I went with 90 cents to $1.30. More than halfway, but how's that going to turn out then? And the fish bucket. No, Death Metal Fridge. Death Metal Fridge, that also sold at $2.49. I was questioning, I was thinking about it and whatnot. It only had 8,600 subscribers at this specific point. Could have been a lot more, But I went with $1.20 to $1.70. Again, I was like, you know what? I'm seeing more and more fridges being submitted to the workshop. I can't help but assume they're going to be accepted. And I'm like, okay. So, yeah, $1.20 to $1.70. And then for the fish bucket, that was selling at $2. I was looking, I was thinking, green bucket helmet. It's got the collection behind it. Has it sold too much? 7,200 is like nothing. I went with $1 to $1.50. I was well aware as well that a fish bandana had been submitted as well. And that would perfectly slot in with a fish bucket helmet. What do you reckon? So, okay. Maybe it will take some time for that to really get anywhere in regards to people realising we're having it. There's hardly any like bucket helmets. Guess we just had to pick that one then. So yeah, it looked like it could work out quite nicely. It just needed some time. Time to cook, I guess. So that was all the abnormal skins. Now let's talk about the regular skins. Senor Tomato, 90 cents to $1.30. I was burnt out with all the rocks. That also was almost 18,000 subscribers, which was quite a bit more compared to some of the other rocks we'd already seen in 2025. So I thought, I don't have that much faith. I don't have that much confidence. So, yeah, I went with 90 cents to $1.30. Tie-hide shirt and pants. I looked at them and I thought, you know what? They haven't sold that much, especially compared to the Cursed Hide and, of course, the Pirate Collection. I actually thought that would probably work out quite nicely. So I went with 75 cents to 85 cents, quite close to $1, but wary still of it probably potentially dipping. But it did look like that was going to have a pretty interesting future ahead of it. And then the Minicopter Sap, well, I looked at it, I thought about it, a $2 skin, only did 8,000 subscribers up to this point, but it was one of the ugly looking saps. Again, by design, but most likely not going to be getting that much love. Very likely was going to dip in price. I went with 90 cents to $1.30. All right, so that was the suggestions. We did the bar orders. Did Hedge buy anything here? I don't recall actually buying anything. No, I did. I bought 30 fish bucket helmets because I was like, you know what? I really do not expect any more of these being accepted anytime soon. And I felt kind of confident about that bandana. So let's go hop out of here. And now let's talk about, well, how did everything turn out? So, Senor Tomato Rock. Yeah, it went down in price. So the suggested price for that, 90 cents to $1.30. That seems to have been reasonably correct. So, yeah, we've got all these third-party sites and whatnot there. But, yeah, $1.50, one on the Steam market. Barter's only going up to $1.11. Chances are, if you did Barter's up to literally like $1.30, you probably have bought some. let's go look at sales history. As you'll notice, it has been trending downwards. Looks like it might be stopping now. Maybe it could go up a fair bit. And I should also point out with the Senor Tomato, we did get another skin being accepted, which you can see right over to here when it loads. Come on, SUMM, help me out here. Thank you. Sheep in the door. That sheep in the door didn't really cause anything to happen to the rock. It barely moved. So there have been attempts for some more skins, but no success at the moment. It's a bit unfortunate. And the skin creator has just recently succeeded with like a green sleeper bag, and he's kind of turning that into a collection. Jungle Temple. I've already forgot the name. I'm so sorry. But let's keep moving. Anyway, perhaps as we go through the summer, maybe it might have an interesting rebound. Maybe it could go up in price a fair bit more. There's only 58 listings at the moment, but kind of not surprised how this turned out. Let's just put it that way. As we can point out over to here, we did get another rock skin. Over the course of Easter, we got the Mr. Chicken. What was it called? Mr. Chick Rock, that's it. And then, of course, we got the special Jungle DLC rock. But point made, we had quite a lot of animal rocks, and we still have another half a year to go. Yippee. So, yeah, that did match up to the expectation. But what do you reckon? Will it have a fun summer? Could we still see some more Senor Tomato skins being accepted? Could we ever complete the set soon? Oh, no, about that soon anyway. But yeah, did you buy any? Feel free to comment below. And have you picked up any with a buy order? I believe I have. I can't remember what account. It's been a while. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about the beauty industry locker. So that got 18,000 plus subscribers, and it did dip down in price, as you can see. Funny thing is, though, we did get some more lockers, and they're doing good. They're doing good. You're not. Well, you're not doing terrible, so at least we can sit here and say that. But the skin creator did attempt to get some more skins accepted. Even recently, as of this recording of this video, a large box has been submitted. So we'll see what becomes of this. But, yeah, 18, 20. You're not helping me out here, buddy. I hate other people. I hate other people. Anyway, let's look at the listings, or rather the sales history. Yeah, it's been on a downward slope, but it has somewhat stopped here. And hey, that downward slope is basically $2. Like that's yeah, it's slightly above $2. Yeah, it didn't go all the way down. The suggested price of $1.20 to $1.80 has proven to be somewhat successful. Yeah, there's no $1.80 barter here now at the moment, but yeah, that means you probably bought them. And if that is its lowest point, how's this going to behave as we go through the summer? How's this going to behave once we're in July and August time? Well, we'll have to wait and see. So, as of now, yep, you very likely did pick up a bunch of these with your buy orders, but did any of you pay for some? Did any of you buy some straight from the Rust store? Pay for some. You know what I mean. But yeah, feel free to comment below. We have the Deep Ruby crossbow, and it's only slightly down in price, because, well, with the Deep Ruby collection, we did actually get those tools, and then a sap, and now a double barrel shotgun. Wait, hang on a minute. And apparently, we're now going to get a tier 2 set. Oh. Looks like we just got an early little insight there. Cool. So by the time this video comes out, that probably is actually going to be tier 2 on the workshop. So cool, because I am recording this on a Saturday, just to point out. So, okay, cool. There's potentially a lot more for this. Now that AK is unfortunate with what happened. I know we're here to talk about the crossbow, but what do you reckon? As we go through the summer, do you think that could climb back up to $3.50? Some problems in the way, but do you think people will be appreciating this Deep Ruby collection from here and now? It's got a decent amount of skins accepted so far. We might be seeing tier 2. Are you optimistic? But yep, the crossbow. Let's get a good look at you right now. So you're currently sitting here at $2.24, only 34 listings. That's not too bad. Not that many listings here as well. It's nice, it's thin. No big fat walls except that 9 there. Barders are still looking somewhat reasonable. I suggested $1.20 to $1.70. Those Barders are basically still there. So yeah, it looks like this has done a very good job in terms of maintaining its price to a point. It went down a bit, and then it went back up. Now, define up. Up is still a bit better, but like about 40, 50 cents. So yeah, okay. I feel like that's quite all right. I feel like it's in a perfectly reasonable position. We're currently only in May. The player counts aren't exactly insane at the moment, but of course, June, July, August are expected to be a lot better. When kids are out of school, makes sense. So, I can't remember where I am, sorry. Where am I? In regards to the Deep Ruby crossbow, that seems alright. no complaints. Digibani, feel free to comment below, and of course Bardas as well. Redemption 096, very similar, not doing too bad, but still down in price. So, yep, it's basically just barely over $2. Did it go lower? It looks like it did for a brief period of time. Yeah, it looks like that was selling around for $1.50 for a while, but of course now it's $2. So, must have had a bit of a rebound already. Looking at the listings here, it's looking quite thin. Barda's still looking quite alright. I mean, yeah, chances are you did pick up quite a lot of these. Did you succeed with your buy orders? Because I did say $1.20 to $1.70, and if it went all the way down to $1.50, I can't help but assume maybe a lot of you did buy some, and I did as well. So, yeah, no, I'm not going to complain. That's all right. Let's see how things are in the summer. It's a perfectly fine looking L96 with the cranberry red sheen. But yeah, looking pretty. No, I'm optimistic for it. Tire hide clothing. I really did want to see that deer skull mask. I really did. But, well, guess what? You know exactly what happened. Tire collection actually kind of succeeded immensely because then it just turned into a core piece set. Tier 2, hoodie and pants, and now recently, boots and gloves. And yes, even then, hide clothing worked out very nicely. It spiked in price with these arrivals. Coincidentally, tire bandana went down in price, but the poncho, as of now, still very solid at $3.42. And a lot of people might sit there and say, oh, that's just because it's a blackout alternative. No, that's more expensive compared to the blackout poncho. What? So, yeah, that's pretty funny. But anyway, the tire hide clothing. Let's get a good look at the listings here. So, yeah, that's got 23 listings. Over to here, that's got 33 listings. Yeah, I think that's going to have a pretty fun summer. I don't think that's going to be struggling or having any issues. That looks A-OK. That looks perfectly fine. The bilders, they are there. Again, the suggested price was 75 cents to 85 cents, so you can see us all around here. And that very likely helped keep the price up. But the other acceptances, the tier 2, the hoodie and pants and all that, even though this is primitive, it still spiked when that arrived. So, would you still like to see more primitive skins? Would you still like to see some hide boots, leather gloves and all of that? Maybe a right helmet? No, tire collection? It makes sense. It works. We're still anticipating the potential rival of the tier 3. That might still cause all of these to have a fun time. But, yeah, at the end of the day, tire hide clothing, there's quite a lot less of you compared to Cursed and, of course, the Pirate Collection. And chances are these are just going to comfortably remain in the positive for the foreseeable future. $3 almost, $2 almost, getting close to $2. Sweet. Cannot complain. Then, of course, we have the Ultramarine backpack. I was scared. I was worried. It was a backpack. They all failed me. I bought so many through buy orders. They were all in the dark, red, horrible times, but yeah, no, it worked out perfectly fine. So, yeah, we've kind of already shown off with the Ultramarine skins. It's all in the positive still, except the coffee can there and the garage door. Oh, woe is me, a few listings are below its rush door price. But yeah, as we approach the summer, things are looking very optimistic, and this backpack, well, same thing. Only 23 listings. Lowest listing is $3. Barda's going up to $2.40 almost. That's great. That's done perfect. That worked out A-OK. For a $2 skin, you couldn't ask for better. So, yes, it did almost reach 12,000 subscribers. There are other backpacks that have sold significantly less. But, again, simply due to the fact that as Ultramarine, yeah, people liked it, wanted it, adored it, appreciated it. And as we go through the summer, could it go up even higher? Like, that's a genuine good question. Who here has invested into Ultramarine collection? What skins do you have? Are you hoping for some sweet, delicious profit? Well, feel free to comment below. But yeah, that right now, looking very comfy. Let's see how that goes when we go through July and August time. July and August typically are where most skins will peak in price during the summer. That's mainly what happened last year. That's what we're expecting again soon. So, bide your time. Right then, cool. So that's nice. Death Metal Fridge. Oh dear. What's wrong? We got more fridges. There was more. Cryo Fridge came out like literally next week and just like, I don't know how to describe. What's the term children like to use? Mog. Yeah, that's it. It completely mogged it. The transparency in the glow in the dark was just insane, and everybody just looked at that and went, I want that instead. Even though these sold very similar amounts, which is like nearly not that much, like both under 10,000 subscribers, look at the difference. So anyway, let's go take a look at the Death Metal Fridge. for what it was, with its collection and whatnot, the HR Guardian design, it's cool. I like it. I still think it's nice. There's only 19 listings on the Steam market. Let's go for the summer. Let's see how that turns out. Because I've got to be honest with you, again, I still stand by my point. I don't think everybody's fully well aware how, again, you can debate, like, do you even find the fridges that much of a necessity? Well, then again, you've got your pies and all your your food and whatnot. I guess, yeah, I mean, with the recent things we've been doing and with the fun stuff, we've needed fridges, so yeah, let's just see how things turn out. Again, because that's not that much listings. That could easily get bought out. That could easily go all the way back up to its Rust price. And we could still see more Death Metal skins being produced. So, for now, you did dip down in price. How low did you go, though? Because we have to bring that up. It was lower. At one point, this was just about like $1.60. Not the best with the suggested price. We sat here and said $1.20 to $1.70. So chances are some of you probably did pick up a bunch of these. But did you hold? Are you happy with how it is? Because I'm not too worried about that. That's looking all right. That's actually looking to be pretty okay. Okay, so let's just hope we don't see even more fridges and Twitch drops. But these Easter skins have worked out very nicely because they sold nothing. Easter Chick, you're just a goofy design. Yes, you sold it a little bit more compared to these two, but because you still didn't sell that much, that worked out. But that one is the lowest selling fridge in all of this year, just 5,000. And yes, just worked out perfectly fine. 6 so far this year. It is a record-breaking amount already. And as I said, Halloween and Christmas are still yet to come up. The Minicopter Sep, well, yeah, as expected, it didn't really do super great. It's unfortunate, but it was kind of expected. Bit ugly, sorry to say, but still a Sep skin. And we did get a lot more Saps after that, didn't we? Yeah, because like over the course of the past 2 months, I have seen Sap after Sap after Sap. How come these are all right, not that one? Oh, look, Tropical Sap's actually become marketable now. Really? Really? Is it actually on the Steam market? We've been waiting for a while. Oh, that's in Sea of Steels. Okay. For some strange reasons, where the recent Saps haven't become marketable. Anyway, some of the recent skins in the recent Rust store. Right, moving on. So, Minicopter Sap. Yeah. What price did we suggest? I said, what was it, 90 cents to $1.30? Well, you know what? That actually seems to have been perfectly fine. Have I picked up some of them? Yes, I did. Am I upset? Nah, I'm fine. Give it the summertime. I'm sure I can flip them some sweet, delicious profit. In fact, I think I'm right there. Yeah. So, yeah, I've picked up a few here and there. And, yeah, I'll just deal with it. I'll live with it. And Fish Bucket Helmet. Look what came out literally the very next week. Now, you'd assume that, okay, so Fish Bucket spiked in demand, spiked in price, went up insane. It didn't go up insanely, no. But it's done a very, very good job of retaining its price. So, yeah, there was like one day where it went up to like $5, then it went back down again, and yeah. But as you can see, is that going down? Is that crashing and burning? No, it's just been comfortable. It's just been A-OK. Now, with the recent Jungle update, I don't think people have really caught on that you could wear this with some green bandanas and whatnot. I did do some showcases, but I don't think people noticed. But yeah, you could consider that for the jungle biome. It's perfectly fine, along with all the other fish clothing and armor skins. But yeah, give it time, honestly. I do believe that will slowly creep upwards. It's sitting here at $1.91. The price of sulfur was $1.99, which I can confirm. So technically speaking, that's actually slightly down in price at the moment. That's like a few listings and it's back up to the price again. Barders are there. It's not going anywhere. That looks like it's perfectly fine and solid. I suggested $1 to $1.50. Barders went above it. So honestly, with what I'm looking at there, I'm not too worried. I definitely still feel like it's a long-term thing. I'm not upset that I bought some straight from the Rust store. Still had the 30. But yeah, let's go through this summer. Let's go see how things roll out over the course of the rest of this year. And let's see if we even see another bucket helmet even being submitted to the workshop. And if I was to just quickly show you that, if I could go over to here on the workshop, if I was to look for actual genuine good attempts, I will probably not be able to find one that appeared somewhat recently. Okay, you got an Easter one there. Okay, and with all due respect, that's actually a good one there, produced by Loser. You got the Brain Bucket, which is weird. You got that Valentine's one, which probably had a little bit too much transparency. But out of all of 2025, that's it. That one, and then that one. And that's it. That is it. We've gone through half a year, and we've only seen 4 interesting designs. One, of course, was being, that was accepted. So yeah, I'm not too fussed. I'm not too worried. I think that'll be perfectly fine. It'll probably retain for maybe another half a year or so, and then suddenly it probably start rising up in price. We shall see. So overall, the outcomes, not too fussed, not too worried, not too upset. I think everything's reasonably stable, and I feel like 8 weeks is a lot better. I feel like there's a lot more to read from. I feel like it's a lot more like of a guarantee to like get a good idea if these skins are going to be doing all right for the foreseeable future and whatnot. And as we start getting closer and closer to the actual summertime, it's going to be more interesting because we're going to see like skins that are accepted back in like April, and then we're going to see how they turned out like around June time. So that'd be cool. So yeah, I hope the wait was reasonable, and I hope the video was insightful. So once again, if you bought any of these skins, feel free to comment below, and feel free to offer your own thoughts and opinions based on how things have turned out. But yeah, whilst some things have dipped, it doesn't look that bad. And now we are looking forward to the summer. We are expecting a lot more people to turn up. Again, just to remind all of you, look at the May time last year and then the June time average player count. Quite a significant jump. With what we got going on here, could we return to something like this? Fingers crossed, that is the expectation. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. And yeah, catch you later. Say goodbye.